Hey, everybody. First of all, I want to thank you guys for joining us today for Rise of the AI and Solopreneur. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring up our host of panelists. Today, we're going to be talking with 4 of our amazing panelists that have decided to join us today. Miss Yasmin George, Miss Monique James, Mr. Rue Monroe, and Luke, because I always mispronounce Luke's name, but Luke is a good guy. Luke, can you pronounce your name for me at the end, because I don't want to...
Luke Medvegy. Pleasure
Yes,
to be here.
Medvegy. Again, we're going to be here today talking about AI. And if you guys recall, when we talked, we sent out a list with a few questions for these panelists to go over, and they decided to join us for this. So what we're going to do is, before we start, I want to give each panelist a brief moment to introduce themselves really quickly, and they'll go over what they do, and we'll go from there. So first off, we'll start with Yasmin. Yasmin, can you give us like a really quick who you are, what you do, and then we'll move on. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Yasmin George. I'm a marketing systems and strategy coach. I help build automation and systems for more established businesses that want to streamline their business, get rid of that overwhelm, create leverage, sustainability, predictability, because I found out that that's where a lot of the holes are for businesses that are trying to scale. And so that's kind of my bread and butter, and also AI, helping get that speed to lead and conversions. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Monique, could you kind of give a quick brief of who you are and what you're doing now?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm Monique James, founder and principal strategist at Renegade Creative Media Group, and I'm an AI marketing consultant. I help small to medium-sized businesses clarify their brand, their marketing strategy in the areas of their brand character, their customer personas, and their content systems planning, leveraging AI to do all the things that everybody here knows AI can do, but aligned with their brand voice, aimed at their customer, and delivered in a system that allows them to be consistent.
Thank you. Rue.
Yeah, hi, I'm Rue Munoz. I am the founder of Diet LLC, and I primarily work with contractors small to about medium size, and helping them with their project management, development of team and processes, and along with systems, right? So the adaptation of AI into contracting.
Wow. Luke.
Hello, and thank you for having me here today. My name is Luke Medvegy, the founder of American Skyport, and also the founder of Business Navigators, where we help businesses with people, culture, and process. It's to help them to rise to the challenge and help hire veterans to help support and solve complicated and wicked problems. American Skyport is designed to help save not only the Midwest, but essentially all folks in what we call the advanced air mobility or the air taxi industry. Thank you for having me.
No, that's really cool. Thank you. What we're going to do is one of the first questions, and we actually pose this to more of our audiences, and we'll hope that you kind of can put your own comments in the chat in all of our lines. So one of the first questions that we had was, what is the most underestimated opportunity AI provides solopreneurs today? One of the things that we had talked about earlier in the background was how AI is actually offering this opportunity for more people to kind of like dabble in things and ideas and opportunities. With that being said, Yasmin, in your opinion, what are some of the most underestimated opportunities that AI are providing solopreneurs today?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, essentially, when people use AI, they use it for parts of their business. Versus looking at it, creating a whole ecosystem. I mean, there's so much you can do with it, and you can get speed. If you can't afford to hire certain types of employees, it can fulfill on an entire marketing and sales operation ecosystem. So essentially, what you're trying to do in any business, especially if you're a solopreneur, you're trying to create leverage. So you get speed, you get back time, you're trying to grow. So instead of looking at AI for just one part of, let's say, content for social, how do you build an entire ecosystem from traffic source content, nurturing, closing, onboarding, and just try to look at it more holistically, because at the end of the day, you need the speed and you need the leverage to create that predictability and sustainability in your business.
Wow, thank you. That was really interesting. Actually, I took a few notes for that. Thank you, Yasmin. Monique, Let's talk about what are some of the top 2 misconceptions solopreneurs actually have about integrating AI? Because, like from what I understand, what Yasmin was saying was it's a systems build. But so, what are some of the 1 or 2 misconceptions about actually implementation or integrating?
I think many business owners think it's too complicated, and when it comes to their marketing, that it's cheating, I guess, for lack of a better word. I do feel like in previous versions of this technology, it was complicated. You had to know how to code. You did have to have the technical expertise in order to make it work for you. That's just not the case anymore. I will say I can understand feeling like it's too complicated because there is so much happening so fast. There's a tool coming out every 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
A new tool is doing it. A new feature. There's just a lot out there. So I understand it, and I would challenge solopreneurs to be willing to prove themselves wrong about that one in particular. And regard to the piece about, leveraging AI is cheating or it's inauthentic. Actually, it is cheating. It's a cheat code to getting stuff done. It is, like to Yasmin's point, it's leverage. That's what leverage is. Leverage allows you to skip steps ahead, to avoid certain mishaps, to avoid taking the long route. It is a cheat code. It's a force multiplier. It's an amplifier. All of the things that as solopreneurs wish they had when they're comparing themselves to larger businesses, larger corporations that do the same things that they do, they can allow AI to fill in those gaps so they can compete similarly in a similar way and get results.
Wow, that was pretty cool. I'm gonna come back to some of these because I put notes and then we'll talk about them. So one of the other things, so let's talk about starting points. Rue, you've been doing a lot of consulting with businesses and stuff. So for beginners, should they start with an AI marketing operations or customer service? Like, where do you think is a good starting point within
So I mean, that's a great question. And I definitely would say it depends upon the type of business. So majority of the businesses I deal with are within construction or contracting, right? Painters and that kind of deal. And as a solopreneur in that arena, it's literally everything, right? It's not just the reach out and the marketing, and it's not just, making the sale. It's also the production end, right? Getting into somebody's house, physically doing the work. So think about that, how much time that is, right? Because if you're painting somebody's house, you're going to spend that whole week there, a full 40, 50 hours, right? When are you supposed to fit in scheduling for a bid? When you're supposed to fit in all these other things? So I really think in that situation, it's tough for a solopreneur to be like, all right, well, I need AI, right? And I need this, and I need this. They just don't know where to start. So I think the step in that situation would be they need to reach out to somebody that can say, hey, I know your business. This is kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And I think that's the thing that's missing for most is just they see all these ads, right? Again, ads. And it's just, ooh, you need this. And it's all shiny object. So yeah, it just really depends upon the business. But on a solopreneur level, I think they just need some guidance first. And the thing about AI is that it's been around for a long time. It just now has a fancy name, and it's getting a lot better faster.
Yes.
So, but I think everybody just needs to start with a CRM. The simplest form of AI connection is a proper CRM. And I think from there, the other connecting pieces will happen in time.
Thank you, Lou. That's pretty good. Luke, let's say you're already past the starting phase and we're looking at like a scale and growth. How does AI help scale without a large team?
So real quickly, I have to plug something because I heard Rue talk a little bit about where to start. I think you should start with buying the book called Harnessing AI that I wrote and published. So I think you should start there. and quite honestly, just and this goes to your question too, Joe.
Buy
Um,
the book.
Buy the book, and then we'll talk about scale to grow. But no, sincerely, it doesn't matter if you're using ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, if you're using Copilot. What matters is use them all. Use them
Yeah.
all. And when you use them all, in some cases, um, ask the second and third order questions. So by using the AI, I think it unlocks that second level in your cognitive process of thinking. A lot of times we're all stuck in the tactical. I'm going to talk a little bit about, the military. We're stuck in the tactical. To even Rue's point about how you're a painter and you're stuck, and how do I plan my next job? You're stuck in the tactical mode. So leverage AI. Say, hey, how do I start? What's a good time management skill and process? Should I block? Should I eat the frog? Should I do Eisenhower? Should I get into and by doing that, I'll lay out probably 36 different mind mapping ways of how you could just block it and make your time. And then from that, try them. Try one at a time and try the one that works the best. Now, if you're scaling to grow, to answer your question directly, the same things here is write out what is your approach. I always say start with the basics. It's always for me, no matter how far advanced you are, it always has to come back to what is the foundation and the basics of your company. So, for instance, I would start with overlooking at what is your problem statement? What is it you're trying to solve, or what is it you're trying to provide? And I would always bring it back to what is my standard? What is my current processes in place? And I would start there, and then I would go through each one, and I would say, hey, are they aligned or are they not aligned? Because what we'll find out as we're scaling, or as we're coming up with different ideations and different businesses, because that's how we work. Just for many of us, entrepreneurism is a great coping mechanism for us to say, hey, it gets our mind off of things that maybe PTSD or maybe other things. So it's a great opportunity for us to think of how can we apply our mind in a positive way to not only make my family better, make my veteran tribe better, but how can I make my community and my business better? And so by leveraging the AI, I think it's going back to the basics, saying, hey, this is my current strategy, put it in. My suggestion, and this is not a shameless plug, find one of those platforms that you are working with and make sure your data is protected. If you go on to basic platforms such as maybe ChatGPT, or if you go into some of these other platforms, you punch in your business ideas, it's not protected. Folks,
Oh
pay
man.
just a little bit, pay just a little bit, make sure it's protected, and then start pouring it out there and start saying, hey, this is how I create my strategy, my lines of efforts,
Yeah.
ABC. Start looking for synchronization up and down, and start creating what I call micro goals, and doing that. And in the military, we teach this, and believe it or not, for strategy, I apply it for business, and we
Yeah.
create things what we call measures of performance and measures of effectiveness. And I think the same thing for business is that's really what you need to do. And by doing that, your micro goals will help move your line of effort, your objectives further down the road. And that is how you're scaling to grow. Thank
Hey,
you.
Luke,
Great
you know what,
question.
that perspective actually it allowed me to kind of think of like where we could kind of shift some gears to like some of the practical tools that AI can offer, because they once you kind of there, what you brought up is really kind of leads to the next step. Is like, well, what are the tools, right? So Yasmin, name one of an AI tool that you think like every solopreneur could probably just have. Like, what is one of like an AI tool that you think?
I mean, the most common and popular one is ChatGPT, paying for the subscription. And I use two primarily, ChatGPT and Claude AI, the paid versions of them. They operate similar but different enough to see that there's a difference. And I forget, I think it was Luke who may have said just try them all. And so maybe pick two or three to compare. And essentially you want to look at it, and I'm going to piggyback off of Luke a little bit more. It's like, what are your goals, right? Or what's the biggest like bottleneck in your business that you're trying to solve? And then figure out which tool can best help, which AI tool can best help with that. So if it's content, is it operational? Is it having a bot to help close leads, like using a chat widget or a voice bot because you don't have time? right? So for Rue's customers, right, they're at jobs all day long. They don't have time to take calls for
Right.
new leads. So can you utilize a chat bot or chat agent to help you be able to at least close a lead to book a call, right? To get that first touch point. So I think it's first identifying the bottleneck and then identifying which.
Again, I'm just interjecting because we're not even like partway through some of these questions, but really I feel like there's just a broader like conversation to have on this, because each one of you, the AI is a cheat code. It's leverage. It's a way to compete with the big corporations. Like there's like so many things that kind of really come together when you guys keep talking about this. Like the mere fact that you can you can speed up your processes, you can decrease your work week, but still get the same production. And I mean, isn't that kind of the long-term goal if your business should be freedom?
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
I wrote that down, and circled it on my notes as I wrote freedom.
Joe, I think freedom's part of it, absolutely. But I think it's really to the cycle of when I'm sleeping, am I still making money? Is next week if I'm sick or I'm ill and I can't work that week for whatever reason, am I still making money? I don't have to worry about it. And I'm going to be frank. I think everyone's trying to get to that point. And I think it takes time. It takes teamwork. It takes a coalition. It takes forming, the team of the willing. And you never do it alone. And I heard Monique mention it about cheat code or cheating. I use a different term. I call it unlocking. I call it hacking. And I'm not talking hacking in a negative sense. I'm calling hacking in a sense of when you're playing video games, how do I hack? How do I get into this and make it to the next level? When I say unlock, really, it's a strategy. How are we unlocking our strategy? So how can I make it a strategy unlocked? And what I think what is great about that means it's unbounds, like no bounds. Like how can I make this where I can function at that higher level and people think I have a staff of 200 and really it's me and a bunch of AI or me and a team in a coalition and we are maybe 5 or 10 people, but we act like we're 100. I think AI is it's that power, that's that engine through multiple platforms that really helps us
For sure.
unlock that strategy.
Luke, I actually want to hear Monique's thought on this, because you were talking about that thing, and Monique talked about systems too, right? But actually, both Yasmin and George really focus on a holistic, systematic approach. Is that kind of, Monique, is that right? When you're talking about the AI implementation or building a strategy, it's more of a systematic approach?
Yeah, I even think, because I think sometimes we use the industry lingo. We use the lingo for our industry, and somebody else in a different industry might not understand what that means. So I think about it, it's pieces of a puzzle. You have the vision, you know what you want the business to look like, fully put together. And as the leader, you have to find the pieces that match the vision and then put those pieces in the places so that it connects in the right way. So like for me, for my business with marketing strategy, I see how, I understand how a brand's character connects with their customers, which connect with the system that allows them to publish content on a consistent basis. So that system, that ecosystem will look different based on the industry, based on the business, but it's important to understand your business well enough to develop what your ecosystem will look like.
Right.
Because Rue's ecosystem, the system that runs his business, the system that he teaches his clients is going to look different from mine.
Right.
But as the business owner, it's our responsibility to figure that out for ourselves. Like we have to have a certain level of clarity first.
Right.
Like I teach and talk about a framework that I kind of throw up 15, 70, 15. Add those numbers up, it's 100. But it's the division of labor with the human and the AI. 15% is us. the human, the visionary, the leader, the whatever founder of the business, we have to at least know something. We got to give the AI something to work with. Because if we do that,
Right.
it can pick up, it can meet us, even in our partial confusion, but a little bit of clarity, it can meet us there and do 70% of the work and get us closer to the 100. Because on the other end of that 70, we then have to come back on the back end and do our QA, QC and polish it up and make sure that it's right. But it is on us. We are responsible
Right.
for having some insight before we can figure out what tools to use and how to start.
That actually, this whole section that we just talked about, where the cheat codes and the leveraging and like, it seems like I have a team of 20 whatever, but it's me and three guys in our AI really kind of figuring it out, right, and really kind of growing. Those are practical. Those are pretty cool. But could we look at it? Because I think some people look at the ethical consideration, right? That people are like, well, is that ethical? Like, so one of the things is, how can a solopreneur use AI to responsibly utilize these things? But I don't think that's a key, right? Because like, I want to ask Yasmin this one, because again, when you're developing these strategies for a business, it's to empower the business, right? I mean, I think there's this fear that you're going to lose, like again, where's the ideal balance between automation and human engagement, right? Like are we looking to create systems where, like, is AI going to come? In other words, where's the balance, Yasmin? Like, when you're creating these systems for people, what's the balance? Are you saying, hey, I'm going to leave it at that and let you answer the question?
No, I mean, so personally, I think you can use AI for a lot of it, and the automation as well for a lot of it. The difference is, and Monique touched upon it pretty well, but I'm going to take it a step further. You got to give it data. You got to give it your voice. You got to give it your unique method of how you do things better. And take it a step further, one of the biggest mistakes I see business owners make, especially when they're that growth to scale phase, is they got too many things going on, too many offers, too many message themes. People are confused. So you actually have to slow down to speed up and simplify your offer, your message, and who you're speaking to. And a lot of marketing and sales is psychology. So are you speaking to the pain? Are you speaking to the desires? And using that in the content for AI, using that into the follow-up systems, using that into just onboarding, whatever it is, but you just repeat those themes and use data to keep refining and optimizing. So I think it's totally okay using AI as long as it's your voice, but you have to train it to use your voice, your language, and what's most appealing to your audience, because there's to be somebody else doing the same thing I'm doing, but we have a totally different tone, voice, methodology, and that's totally fine.
Well said.
Thank you. Rue, I have one. Is this on the same area, right? Like, do you think is there going to be any AI backlash foreseeable? Like, how should solopreneurs prepare for any kind of AI backlash, if there's even any?
Well, the backlash is happening now, right? You have your OGs that are out here like, screw that. That's a way of oversight of some kind of way, right?
Right.
And then you have your new age entrepreneurs that are all about it. And they're like, well, what's next? Give me more. So I think we're at the backlash area now, to be honest. And that's where we're having like a lot of entrepreneurs like, oh, well, I'll never have a robot do something that I should be doing. Right? That's the backlash in all reality. But I also think that, like in any business, if we don't progress with the times, we'll get left behind in the times. So it's very, very important that if you're a business currently and you think you're not using AI and you have a storefront, guess what? You have a POS system that has AI in it. Do you use a cell phone? That has AI in it. Do you use a laptop? That has AI in it. So you're going to use it regardless, right? And that's the reality. I think a lot of us that are OGs are having a tough time swallowing, is that we're already using it. So let's use it and let's move forward in a better light. And hopefully, that means our business increase. Our businesses don't die in the time. And I'm not gonna lie, that was a big scary thing for me, and I refused AI for a very long time until somebody kind of showed me. They're like, "You're already using it, you idiot. You have these new CRM systems that are an app on your phone to computer to this. You're already using it. You have automations. You're using it. So freaking use it and get better, get faster."
That actually caveats right into the next series of questions, which is a creativity and innovation, right? Like which is what we're talking about. Yasmin actually touched on it. Monique touched on it. Rue just covered it. Even Luke said it already. It's so does AI truly enhance creativity, or is it mainly for efficiency? What do you guys think?
I think
I think it's
Let's hold on. Let me Yasmin. No, Yasmin. Luke. I want to hear actually Yasmin first. I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth with this.
I was fine if Luke wanted to go first.
Yes.
My answer is one word: both.
Both. There you go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'll say both too. But absolute creativity. Excuse me, creativity. I mean, especially I'm on the marketing side of things. Get fresh ideas, right? See what other spins or angles or what other ways to distribute your message, because we all get ideas random ways, right? We could be washing dishes and all of a sudden we get an idea. So use whatever things that you have available to you so that way you can get better, because at the end of the day, there's a game out there that's being played and you have to stay on top of it. And can't hate the player, you got to hate the game. That's why there's so many young people who aren't necessarily experts, but they've learned the game. They've learned enough expertise to make an impact, share their message, and get people results. So like Rue said, you're already using it, just get up to speed so that way you can do it better.
So Monique, actually, Luke, I have a question for you. I do. It's a question for you. It's because you said both. Now, do you think does the AI actually draw creativity out of people and efficiency that they already had and they just couldn't do it, or do you think it's a tool to kind of in other words, do you think there's a tool to draw that out, and how can they utilize that to help them draw it out?
So I think this is like the chicken or the egg question you're asking me here. So to be frank and to be fair, I like to think if you're in front of the computer and you're there, you have some sort of ideation of what it is you want to do and what it is you want to make of it. So I'm kind of hoping you're plugging that ideation in and saying, hey, I want to create a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I liked it to be ethical, imply and incorporate ethical considerations, maybe for whatever reason, for whatever industry. And when you start working on a SWOT analysis and you're going, hey, I like ethical considerations in it, it could pull something way out up here that you're thinking way over here. It could be completely the opposite. And it could come up with a complete different area. And what you find is when you start your journey, you're using a compass. You find is entrepreneurs have to learn how to be agile, adaptive, quicker, sooner, faster. So when you're starting out, it's better to be that way in the beginning than it is on the end, because once you shoot your azimuth, you put your compass, and you set your target, and you're going out, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and you're looking on your plan, and you find out that you're way off maybe ever hitting your goal. So I think AI can really help you keep you on that target, everything from the ideation to the marketing to staying with even in the realms of ethical consideration. You asked that question earlier, and I'm incorporating it purposely because I want to say something about ethical consideration, and I'm going to hand it back. Is that I was talking to my CEO yesterday, Brad, and we were having this conversation. And he said, Luke, you wrote a book. You did good. Congrats. He goes, you didn't talk about ethical considerations of AI. And he's like, listen, if you're creating And I want to say this is really for everyone. With great power comes great responsibility. So if you are harnessing and you're leveraging AI, you have to think also, sometimes this comes in marketing, not just what I'm saying, but what am I not saying is sometimes just as important. So with AI, if I'm going to write an herbal cookbook, first of all, I don't recommend doing that unless you're truly a doctor and you have like that expertise in it. But I really would suggest you don't, because AI could say, hey, eat these herbs, and they could be poisonous for you and they could really hurt you. So you have to, no matter what you do with AI, you have to go back and check it and fact check it and check it. So going to Monique's point of 15, 70, 30, excuse me, 15, 70, 15, by the way. Well said, Monique. Awesome. Never heard that before. I love it. It's like, hey, make sure you're spending that 15 on fact checking. Make sure you're doing the right thing. So for many reasons, to Yasmin's point, am I staying in the culture? Am I staying on track? Am I actually trying to achieve what it is I set out to achieve? So, and also make sure I'm doing it ethically. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you.
Can I
Monique,
add one?
oh, go
I
ahead,
just
go
want to
ahead.
add one thing to what Luke said that's really important, especially if you're using AI for like copy. You know, the FTC is starting to really regulate on claims, even for small businesses. So whatever AI comes out with, you want to make sure that you stay within the guidelines of the FTC, because you can't have the excuse, well, AI gave it to me, I didn't know. Well, it is your responsibility.
Yeah.
So no matter what you're doing, just make sure that you check, you optimize. AI is great, gives you speed, and it sounds great, but it's ultimately your responsibility to ethically make sure it's the right stuff that's going out and you're within the guidelines that you need.
Thank you for
Right.
that. Yeah, thank you. Monique, mindset shifts for leveraging AI effectively. Thoughts?
I think you have to be curious. I think you have to have a depth of understanding in your own business so you won't get bogged down or distracted once you fall down this rabbit hole, because it is a slippery slope to start talking about the tools and all of these things. You can find yourself very distracted and off course of your own business growth. Curiosity, I think, is key for me. You have to be willing to ask. You have to be willing to consider that there are things you don't know that you don't know. And then start investigating and, what about this? Well, I wonder, what if, just to start being open to figuring out what it can do for you, how it can work for you, what areas it can support you or amplify. I think curiosity is key.
Absolutely. Wow. I want to leave that for. I want to leave that question open for everyone. Rue, would you like to mindset shifts for AI?
Well, again, just shifting the ideas, right? And just reverting back, also touching on earlier, I personally have been using Chat GPT pretty heavy. Just being a soundboard, basically doing a split test for me without having to do a split test, right? What is this compared to this? What would be this, that, or other? And I think it's a great tool for that. If at all anything, just bare minimum, just that. And then you take that and go further, because then obviously, like all of us, right, entrepreneurs, we're very much a creative type personality, right? We see something in the marketplace, we're like, oh, we could do that better. So we've set out to do it better for ourselves, right? And that's what I've been using it for, is just really, because then it goes from, here's this idea block, and now I can really go and dive into it, because now it's like, okay, this juice is going. Now I can really start running with it. But again, that also creates rabbit holes, right? Like Monique was saying, you can kind of get lost in the sauce on that one. So that comes down to, again, going back to ethics, and not losing ourselves, us not losing our voice, which goes back to what Yasmin was talking about, which is making sure that we're getting into the programming of this and say that we don't lose our voice. And I think that's so very crucial. And yes. So as far as mind shifts, man, it's just the beginning.
Yes. Yasmin?
Yeah, I agree with everything Monique and Ruth said, and I'm sure I'm going to agree with what Luke's going to say. But I think the mindset shift is more around like, what if it's fun, right? Isn't it fun when you get more leads? Isn't it fun when you close more sales, right? So how can I create this marketing sales ecosystem that's fun, right? So adding to the curiosity, adding to the creativity, and it just gives you speed to lead and speed to scale. So shift it from I'm scared to, oh, I don't know what this is to, oh, I think this could be fun.
Luke?
So so I agree with everything Yasmin and
Right, you agree with everybody
Monique and
too.
Bruce said. So Joe, I agree with what you're going to say. But hey, at the end of the day, it's that to kind of piggyback off of what Yasmin said. It's about that rush, that energy rush, right? Something comes in, you're like she said, you're like, wow, I just got this like full on like rush, excitement to echo her. But it's a real thing. It keeps you excited. It keeps you wanting to get that next deal. So, but and to the point where Monique said earlier about that learner mindset, and to the point where Rue said, I will say this. Also, there's so many tools out there. Don't lose your pocketbook on it. Do your research. As a solopreneur, do your research because someone's going to take your money no matter what. So don't just give it to them. Just do your research. There's apps now that you could actually you can actually create your own app off of apps. I mean, that never existed a year ago. Now it's here, and there's tons of them. So I would just say, just do your homework. That's what I would say.
See, I told you I'd agree.
I would like to chime in real quick. So there are some comments that have been going on and some questions that are being asked, and the group of people that are watching are kind of thinking we're speaking at the 10,000 feet view. So I do want to point out, as far as probably gonna butcher your name, Venkatesh. As far as like social media and AI posts and engaging audience, I'm not going to be the right one to speak on this. I know between Monique and Yasmin, they will be. But as far as for me in my types of businesses and that kind of deal, I'm currently right now actually using my VA staffing to actually test things like Blaze, test things from Go High Level, test things from a conglomerate of different apps, and specifically for social media marketing and posting automations, post engagement, blah, 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 blah. Right. So as far as I go, there's a lot to test out, just like what Luke was saying, and don't lose your pocketbook on it, because then it'll be very, very much a loss and a mindset push back instead of continue to push forward. So I just wanted to touch on that and make sure everybody knows you're not being forgotten. And I want to touch on that because, again, there's a lot of great people on here that has a lot more capability going in depth. And if you have questions, you should reach out to everybody on here with those questions specific, because I guarantee you, we will all love to answer you.
Yes, I actually apologize. We did ask that question earlier, and I think we dropped a few of the AI tools that people were using. It must have been before, but what we're going to do is after we're done with this, we will do our best to put as many links and shares of resources, tools, and if not, always you can connect with any of our panelists. You can also find information on these things at the Veteran Social Summit website pages, Veteran Lifestyle Magazine, and any of the other panelists here also have a lot of tools. There's a huge network of people that we've been connecting with, and we'll also put a lot of that together as the coming webinars come and more of the Veteran Social 25 stuff gets listed out. Thank you for bringing that up, though, Rue. I appreciate that. And also, so a funny thing, one of the other things I was going to ask today are what are some AI trends solopreneurs should be prepared for 2026?
Agents, GPTs. We're talking about scaling and getting more done and speed. Agents. You can build tools. Yep. I like to call them, you can build specialists. Yasmin mentioned it already. Rue mentioned it already. Like, you can build tools to specialize in specific tasks for your business that help you get more done. You can build tools to do your sales calls, to answer questions when people visit your website, to in your CRMs, you can pre-program templates, emails to get sent out, like all of these things that we can do. But you got to know your business.
Right.
You got to know your business. And there is a tool, I am willing to bet there is a tool out there that can help you AI-ify a task or a set of tasks.
Right.
It's there, but you have to know your business first. But for me, that's where I am now. I started out building tools to use internally in my business, specialists on specific things. And now I sell tools to do specific things. And I think for solopreneurs going into 2026 and beyond, there's conversations now for people like the one-man $1 million brand, like one person $1 million brand, because you can have AI plugged in to do so much, but you do have to start with an initial vision for what you want your business to do, and then just one step at a time, plug an AI tool in to help you.
What advice would you do differently if you were starting a one-person business today with an AI, Yasmin?
What would I do differently? I think one of the biggest bottlenecks for most business owners is not the actual fulfillment of what they do. They're really good at that. It's the stuff that's hard, like promoting themselves with social, for example, or with ads, but understanding there's a real person that's reading it. So how do you connect using AI to help you promote more consistently, frequently, and then also leads in the follow-up. So it's another hole I see in a lot of businesses. The follow-up game is pretty weak because you're just so busy working in the business instead of on it. So I would use AI in those parts because it seems to be the most painful for most business owners. So how can you leverage that so that you can buy back time and feel like you're actually still, keeping your business alive and fresh with getting more customers?
One more question that I want to ask, and then I just would like to do like a little recap of some of the stuff that we discussed. So, how can AI help innovate, or is it going to saturate markets? Do you guys think? Let's go, Rue.
So I'm just gonna tell you like this. When you look for a red car, you see a bunch of red cars, right? But you missed every single blue car that passed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the moment you step into anything that's in your business, your market's saturated to your eye view because now you see it. You see all the competition. Because I'm gonna tell you like this, before I started painting, because I'm not a painter by trade originally. I very much was in the medical field and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Fire, Marine Corps, blah, blah, blah. But when I stepped into painting, oh my gosh, I didn't realize there was 10,000 painters in St. Louis because I never saw them, right? And that's the reality. Get out of your head because your market is saturated, and that's fine. Your client that's supposed to be your client will find you, and it's up to you to harness that relationship. Other than that, you're focusing on competition because you feel insignificant in your arena. And that's a you problem. So that has nothing to do with AI. That's just personality and your own mind frame. And that you have full control of.
Yeah.
AI is just going to help you clear through some of the weeds and the crap people that are out there and the crap businesses that really aren't your competition to begin with, if you're being ethical, if you're being honorable in what you're offering.
Yeah. It goes back. It's going to go back to, and Yasmin, actually, all of you guys have already said it. It still goes back to you. You have to actually have a business. You actually have to input data. Like the AI is not going to magically create you a brand new business that's going to operate, because you still have to do the basics. You still have to build the right relationships with customers, regardless of what they are, is kind of still the feedback, right? Like, because I think a lot of times when we're looking at AI stuff, I think some of the fears going forward are that it's going to take away from the people part. But the people part is what sells the business anyway, regardless of where it is, where it came from, who marketed. Like if you don't have a people part, it doesn't work. I mean, what are you guys thoughts on that portion of it, right? Like keeping AI people part, like that's the most important aspect of AI if it's going to go. Monique?
The people part matter. The people part, like the tool is agnostic. It's a tool. That's how I see it. AI is the hammer that I use to build a house. That's it. It doesn't have any feelings. I don't expect it to act like a human being because it's not. So I make it. I make it be empathetic because I'm empathetic. I make it show up and be and focus on people's humanity because that's how I operate. So I treat it like that. I actually think it's unfair to expect a tool like an AI chatbot to behave like human beings, because we are full of contradictions. We lie, we BS, we show up differently in different situations. Like it just, in my opinion, it doesn't have the capacity to do what we as human beings can do. And so for me, thinking about it in that way, I ensure that I handle it and tell it to behave the way I want it to behave. I don't expect it to know. I don't expect it to assume. I expect it to follow clear instructions. And every person on this call, every military affiliated person knows I expect it. I do the knife hand. I expect it to follow clear instructions. And that's what it does. That's what it does. It's a tool. And when we think about it like that, it gives us room to step into our own leadership. And it also helps us manage our expectations for how it's going to perform.
Yasmin, when you're helping them build, thank you, Monique. That was very insightful, and I 100% agree. But you really it brought me back to what Yasmin, when she says she interviews people. I'm just curious, is that a step? So when you're helping build those systems and interviewing people, right? That's a big step of what Monique was talking about. It's like, what do you want this to do? And that also brings in those ethical things as you build systems for people. Like, what kind of topics do you cover when you go to build those systems?
I mean, the first things first, like you want to design your business to fit your life and not the other way around, right? So how much time do you want for yourself? How much money do you want to make? Who do you want to serve? How do you want to serve? That all matters when you're building your business, your systems, all of it. You could use AI to help you through it, but the theme there is control. You don't want to give AI control of your business by just putting stuff in and be like, hey, give me an output and I'm just going to go with it. No, you want to control it. You tell it what to do, but you got to refine, you got to prompt, train, optimize, and you got to make sure it's ethical, compliant, all of that. So just like in your business, you want control. How do you want your business to be? So when I help build systems and I customer journey map their business, it's all around simplifying, getting clear, simplifying, and then building accordingly to who I am and how I operate. And then serving at the highest level to give clients results. Basics, but we get caught up in just, the grind that we forget to go back to the basics and like, all right, what do I really want and how do I want to be?
The basics.
It's always the basics normally that we forget.
Yeah.
The basic thing, because I'm just now starting to dabble in AI, and I'm recognizing the value of one of my other partners, right? Because I'm known for collaboration, partnerships, and just building things. So one of my first partnerships used to always go automate, eliminate, and delegate, right? So AI seems to be able to do almost all three of those. So I just think this has been a great conversation. I want to thank you guys all for showing up. But before we go, I'd really like to give each of you a few minutes to kind of share what you guys got coming up next. If there are any things that you'd like to share on your own personal journey in the next couple of months that you'd like for the audience to know about. We'll start with Yasmin.
Yeah, I think, this goes in line with what I've helped a lot of business owners with when it's just, I'm drowning, I'm overwhelmed, I need a streamline. And so what's coming up just trending is AI agents, right? Using chatbots, using voice agents to help speed to lead and, just get that time, right? Qualify the right people, right types of leads, so that way you're not wasting time with people who aren't the right fit. Using tools to help you be more efficient. So that's what I've been working on more, to add AI into systems, right? So just, again, collecting the right data, making sure the right types of leads, and nurturing and closing. So that's what everyone wants. And now how do you implement it into your business? And that's where we specialize in doing that, because that's where it's going. So it's still early adopters right now using these types of agents, but it's advanced enough that you can implement it right now. So that way, again, more profitability and more time.
Absolutely. Monique?
So the next couple of months, next month, I'll be speaking at the Jim Moran conference in St. Petersburg, Florida, for anybody who's in the area. June, I think it's 11th through the 13th. I'll be talking about AI for content strategy, because that's what I do. After that, I hope to be kicking off some sessions like this. We're having more conversations about the high level and like the strategy, but also the boots on the ground, pun intended, because it's two. You have to be double-minded almost when you're thinking about how to use it for marketing in the way that I use it. So I'm looking forward to that, kicking that off, and just having more of these conversations. So yeah, I want to encourage people. I want people to not let that nasty, raggedy voice of fear keep them stuck in overwhelm and distraction. And I want them to just pick something, one thing, and pursue it and figure out if that's going to work. And if that doesn't, drop it and pick up something else, because the potential is so tremendous. And I would hate to see businesses, especially businesses that are aimed at needs in the world, creating a better future, all of those beautiful words that we say, like, we absolutely cannot afford to have you sitting on the sidelines and waiting for something or somebody to come grab you by the hand and rescue you. Like, you got it. Let's get it done.
Rue?
So over the next couple months, leading through the summer for me, it's primarily I'm going to be focusing on diabs and my current client load, and really harnessing in the fact of being able to help out smaller businesses, the solopreneurs, take that step into using more of automations as much as possible to help out just with the everyday task. And then also where I'm going to be differing is attaching a VA expert just to kind of take that workload off. Because I know for me, when I was out in the field, the last thing I wanted to do, as soon as I got out of the paint, started knocking off all the dust off my arms and face and everything else, was to get on a computer. I can answer the phone, I can do that, but getting on the computer was like the death of me, because I had to go home, right, to family. I had to go home to dinner time after I took a shower, obviously. I had to get ready for bedtime with the kiddos. And that has always been my biggest holdup in business, because for me, that took priority. And if I had to focus on business during that time, I did a disservice to my family. Yeah. And I have older kids and I have younger kids. And I've seen the difference on both sides. And I'm going to tell you like this, I've been told by multi-millionaires, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would wait for my millions to make sure I got my children where they needed to be as young adults. And so that's my focus. And if that's my focus, I know there's a lot of other contractors that deserve that as well. And so that's my goal of impact for humanity.
Yeah. Luke, what do you got coming up in a couple of months?
That was a hard follow.
Where are you going?
Oh, come on,
So,
dude. That's easy for you, bud.
that was a hard follow. But hey, I want to say this. You know what I love about each and every one of you is that all of us here in our hearts, we're all about our tribe. It's about veterans. It's
Yeah.
about helping veterans, about their spouses, about their kids, about the community. It's about each and every one of us helping each other grow. And I love that. I love your passion transcending. And we need to have a one-on-one later so we can talk more.
Yeah.
But hey, I want to. So what's going on? So first and foremost, I have to say, thank you to Ryan Hunt and Annette Wittenberger who aren't here, and of course Joe. Thank you for moderating today. I have to say that up front because I mean it, and if I don't say it, I'm going to forget. So thank you sincerely. Also, I have to say, you probably see a sign behind me, Bunker Labs, IVMF through Syracuse University. I'm an ambassador for Indiana. I work with Ryan for the Central Region of the U.S. Monique hit on it earlier. At the end of the day, we're trying to help veterans, spouses, and family members in this ecosystem of entrepreneurship. And at the end of the day, I may not know all the answers. It's okay. You know why? Because I have a community, and we'll reach out to each other. We help each other, and like anything else, as the tide rises, all boats go with it. So we're going to help each other to help you if you're listening to this. Also, we'll point you to the right direction, to help you with, regardless you want to get into like a PMP, maybe you want to get into governance or government, maybe you want to get into just more entrepreneurship stuff. Hey, we'd love to kind of point you in that direction. Or maybe you are already an AI champion and you want to help other veterans in this arena. Guess what? And maybe you are succeeding in successful business and you want to become an ambassador. Hey, reach out as well. So as far as there's a couple podcasts I know that are coming up. I'm going to sit down with. I'm going to be traveling out to Chicago in probably the next 2 weeks. I'm going to sit down with some great veterans and entrepreneurs out there. We're going to sit down and we'll talk about another podcast series. Again, trying to help vets unlock some of their strategy for business and navigate that business as we continue on. Business Navigators is designed to be, truth be told, it's designed to help this team here to help our veteran entrepreneurs. So if we our goal is to land more consulting jobs, and as we do that, we're going to employ this community. This is where our heart is, to echo Rue. We have so many veterans with so much experience. Everything from that Lance Corporal who really was able to fix and solve complicated problems, all the way up to lieutenant colonels or beyond who've been able to help lead strategy. There's a seat here for every one of you, and it's about the business development, securing, and of course, we say in the military, find, fix, and finish. Same thing with business, right? Find it, fix it, and let's solve it and finish it. So I just want to throw that out there. And then also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, because this is my heart, is to echo what Rue said also, is, I started a nonprofit. It's called American Heroes Equine Connection, incorporated to help vets with PTSD. It's there to help you all. So please look it up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Also, I wanted to put up our events coming up for 2025. So obviously today we did the Rise of the Solopreneur. Coming up next on the 16th, we're going to have the good, the bad, the ugly of VA disability. June 20th, we'll be bringing Media Momentums, a public relations roundtable. We should have a really good thing there. Then we're going to have the Rise of the Mill Spouse in June. July, we're going on to Transition Tools of Success. July 25th, our Fireside Bunker Labs Ambassadors. And then obviously we're going to culminate that this year with the Veteran Social Summit, which I'm super excited about. There will be another pitch competition this year, and we are really looking forward to that. So again, I cannot extend the amount of gratitude I feel for having you guys show up. And I hope it's not the first time. I hope we'd love to come back and have you again. There's so many opportunities for us to amplify. Some of the stuff that Luke was saying and everybody here, it's absolutely right. For me, what I think AI offers is the ability for those people that go, man, I wish there was a business that could help with this in our community. I wish that the businesses in our community actually cared about the people, the environment, the thing, right? Like, it allows those people to actually create those businesses. Like we're no longer kind of stuck anymore to need so many people to grow. So I think that's a huge leverage, a huge cheat code. So again, I want to thank you guys all for coming. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So when I met Ryan Hunt and Annette Wittenberger, they kept talking about this amazing idea that they had and had previously been successful at, but it had been paused and they wanted to keep going with it. And they were talking about how veterans can learn resources about entrepreneurship, education, really connecting with our fellow veteran community and being successful. So obviously I wanted to be a part of that. And I am really excited to be a part of 2025 because we are going to have even more amazing speakers and resources